What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, folks, I did not think I would be making a video on this very topic so soon after making another video like last week, I believe, on this very topic. We're going to compare and contrast the Republican Party versus the Democratic Party. And, you know, when we have some fallout from some crisis or, you know, a scandal or something like that, how each react to each of these. Okay, so in case you guys have been living under a rock, there is a Senate candidate out there named Graham Planter, or is that it? Platner, I'm sorry. Graham Platner. I was reading it wrong because I'm dyslexic, so keep that in mind as a matter of fact as I'm reading the news to show you just how much of a struggle this has been to try to do, as a matter of fact. But anyway, that aside, okay, so we got Graham Platner. Okay, so this guy's a Senate candidate. We find out this guy has an actual Nazi tattoo on his chest. He was a mercenary for Blackwater, for crying out loud. This guy he's a far left nut job, claims to be a communist. Okay, so all this information is coming out. Not a single Democrat. As a matter of fact, Democrats are defending this guy. Check this out, y'all. Check this out. This is from NBC. NBC, by the way, is trying to hide the fact that this guy has a Nazi tattoo. Watch this. Maine Senator or Senate candidate Graham Platner says he covered up a tattoo that resembled Nazi symbol. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and debunk this headline right off the top. Okay, resembled, NBC? Are you kidding me? Resembled a Nazi symbol. The corporate press, they're doing nothing but manipulating everything, folks. Everything. If they are willing to manipulate something as simple that can easily be fact-checked as this, what else are they manipulating us on, folks? That's what you got to keep in the back of your mind as you're reading this news article. Let's get into this, and I'm going to go ahead and debunk that it resembles a Nazi symbol and that it, as a matter of fact, is the exact same. Check this out, y'all. Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner covered up a tattoo on his chest that resembled a Nazi symbol, a spokesperson for Platner's campaign confirmed to NBC News. The move comes just days after Platner appeared on an episode of Pod Save America and acknowledged the tattoo in response to a video of himself shirtless where his tattoo is visible at his brother's wedding 10 years ago. Platner said that his campaign was informed that images of his tattoo were being pitched as opposition research, with those sharing the video alleging that he had a Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest. I am not a Nazi, Platner told the podcast, adding that he's been a lifelong opponent of Nazism. Well, then, my dude, why the hell do you have a Nazi tattoo, as a matter of fact, on your chest? Here is the picture, as a matter of fact. It's clear to see right there. There's better photos if you guys want to get out there and go look for some. I just grabbed this right quick so I could show you guys. That's the Nazi symbol right there. This is what he covered it up with. Okay, so if this just resembled a Nazi symbol and you're not a Nazi, why cover it up then, my dude? If it's not an actual Nazi symbol. See, this is where the corporate press are trying to manipulate everything. Oh, it just resembled one. It wasn't actually nothing to see here, folks. Donald Trump is bad. Donald Trump is evil. He struck another one of those drug cartel boats, as a matter of fact. Don't you think that's bad, that these people don't get their due process rights? Well, hang on just a second, corporate press. Let me knock that argument down, as a matter of fact. They're not American citizens. They don't get due process rights. But, yeah, I've got my criticisms about that, by the way. Just don't take that as me just saying it's okay for the Trump administration to be blowing up drug cartel boats in the freaking Caribbean Sea. Now, that aside, okay, so why cover it up, for one? If it's not a Nazi tattoo, you're just going to say it resembles one, why cover it up then? Fascinating, that is. Let's go to the Wikipedia page. Now, I'm going to throw this up there. If you guys want to pause and read this out, go right ahead. But I'll go ahead and look up Totenkopf, as a matter of fact, Totenkopf tattoo. That is a Nazi symbol. It was one of the SS divisions, as a matter of fact. The division, in fact, in charge of overseeing the Jewish death camps, as a matter of fact. So That's fascinating, y'all. This dude had this tattooed on his chest. What do you think that means? He claims to be a communist as well. Now, he says these days he's not a communist anymore, but hang on just a second. Like, a lot of people are saying, well, look, there you go. He can't be a Nazi and a communist at the same time. Like, do you think we're that stupid? Do you think just because the Nazis fought the Soviets and that was communist, you think that socialism is not a form of communism? Folks, that was just a power struggle over who would be the better communist. As a matter of fact, now look, the Nazi Party, they weren't full-blown communists, right? But they were socialists. They were nationalist socialists. So, once again, those ideologies, a whole different country that has communist dictatorship, essentially. I mean, that's what Stalin was, a dictator. But anyway, getting back to this, right? But there you go. There's a contradiction in terms right there. He can't be a communist and a socialist. He claimed to be a communist, folks. Socialism and communism are not that far apart, as a matter of fact. It's just fascinating what the corporate press is trying to do with this, y'all. It just blows my mind, y'all. Oh, it just resembled one. Let's keep going with this because we've got some statements from some Democrats. No Democrat, as a matter of fact, politician or any prominent Democrats have condemned any of this, folks. As a matter of fact, they are defending this guy and his tattoo. Plattner, earlier this week, promised to remove the tattoo. The Oyster Man told the Associated Press on Wednesday that going to a tattoo removal place is going to take a while, and that he wanted this thing off my body, which led him to opting to cover up the tattoo. Now, hang on, before all of this, they were saying, oh, it's not a Nazi tattoo. There's nothing to see here, folks. And now all of a sudden, oh, you're going to cover this thing up? These people are lying to you on a daily basis, right? Once again, if they're willing to manipulate you about something as simple as this guy, instead of canceling this guy and, pulling back your support for this dude, no. As a matter of fact, we're going to double down and we're going to defend this guy and say, we're cool with this. Let's roll. Hey, why don't you go get that tattoo covered up? As a matter of fact, like, this is all insane, folks. It really is. It only became bad for them once it got out that he has a Nazi tattoo on his freaking chest, right? If we wouldn't have found this out, hey, nothing to see here, folks. This is what they do. They manipulate you, putting a Nazi into the Senate. And they call Donald Trump Hitler, for goodness sakes. This is insane. And this is where we can compare and contrast the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. You see, when Democrats get a scandal, they defend their guy and say, oh, nothing to see here, folks. Oh, yeah, don't look over here. Oh, we're going to hide this because there's nothing to see here. We're going to cover this up. Don't look. But when Republicans do it, hang on just a second. We just had that scandal from the Young Republicans Federation. As a matter of fact, that whole fallout where they were making some untoward statements, basically on a private chat room type of thing going on. They were making jokes. What happened to those Republicans? Oh, they were ostracized from the Republican Party. Canceled, blatantly outright. Just boom, they're gone. No more. These guys didn't have Nazi tattoos on them. This dude had this tattoo for a long time. This guy's like in his mid-40s or something like that, or 50. I forget his age right off the top of my head, but he's been having that tattoo since he was in the Marines. Hang on just a second. You have a Nazi tattoo that you've been having for like 20 years, and you're just now covering it up. Oh, because it became a scandal. And Democrats are defending this guy outright. It's absurd what's going on. We got very inebriated and we did what Marines on liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo, Plattner said, adding, we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we're Marines and, skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. Yeah, but not freaking Nazi symbols, my dude. We got those tattoos, and then we all moved on with our lives, the military veteran and oyster farmer added. He went on to say that he's never hid the fact that he has a tattoo and has often taken his shirt off at the gym, beach, and other occasions. At no point in his entire experience of my life did anybody ever once say, "Hey, you're a Nazi." It never came up, Plattner said. Because people don't know what those symbols are. If they would have known, I can guarantee you people would have called you a Nazi. Right, well, once again, they're trying to install a neo-Nazi into the Senate, y'all. That's what they're trying to do. The revelation about the tattoo came just days after CNN and the Washington Post unearthed old Reddit posts from Plattner where he called himself a communist, said police officers are bastards, and agreed that rural white Americans are racist and stupid, and downplayed challenges faced by military members in reporting sexual assault. Okay. Wow. So, yeah, okay, people make comments. I will say that right off. But, you know, you really don't change all that much. You really think this guy has changed his opinion all that much from an seemingly entrenched position of police officers are bastards, really? And white rural Americans are racists, really? Is that so? Insane, y'all. Plattner apologized for those posts last week, saying that many of them were written after he returned home from his military service and was disillusioned with the world. Does that excuse anything? Those Republicans also apologized, but that didn't stop them from being outright ostracized from the Republican Party. And they were just joking around. They were clear jokes. This guy was being serious on Reddit. For those of you who have read these things and have been offended, have read these things and seen somebody that you don't recognize, I am deeply sorry, he said in a direct two-camera video posted on X on Friday. When I got back from Afghanistan in 2011, I stayed in the Army for another year. I got out in 2012. Some of the worst comments I made, the things that I think are at least defensible, that I would even try to defend, come from that time, Plattner said in that video, adding later that day, "I'm sorry for this. Just know that it's not reflective at all of who I am. I don't want you to judge me on the dumbest thing I ever wrote on the internet. I would prefer if people could judge me on the person I am today." Over the weekend, Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin told CNN that while he condemned the Reddit posts as hurtful and offensive, he added that they were not disqualifying. Plattner also said that many of the Reddit posts were made during a time when he was living with undiagnosed PTSD from his military service, a condition that he says has since he's gotten treatment for. Okay, nice excuses there, buddy. That's all I'm going to say about that. Look, we need to put people that are going to be at the top of the top, that are going to be the elite, the political class, the ruling class, if you will. They need to be the best of the best. They don't need to be, at one point in their life, completely unhinged. Once again, folks, you don't really stray too far from that path once you get older. Sure, you may not make posts like that anymore. You may change a little bit, but if you feel that police are bad, you're not going to really change your opinion all that much throughout your life, right? Unless there's significant action that makes you change your opinion. But once again, you claim to be a communist, my dude. Like, seriously. Like, these things don't change that much. I mean, can we really say that people change their minds on all kinds of things all the time that dramatically? All of a sudden, he loves cops, and he doesn't think that rural white Americans are racist anymore, and that, communism doesn't work. That wasn't that long ago. Those posts, as he said, from after he got out of the military, which was 2012. That's not that long ago, folks. People don't come off the communist plantation that quickly. Hey, I'm just saying, maybe he did change. But once again, if you're going to go as far as to get a Nazi tattoo and then try to say it's not a Nazi tattoo at first, that's not what it is, and then cover it up, Why not just get it removed? Why get it in the first place? Especially even if we give him the benefit of the doubt, he didn't know what it was. He was still endorsed by Bernie Sanders. So look, I'm sorry. You get no sympathy from me. I believe in second chances. I believe a lot of people say things at their most vulnerable times. They say things that when they're young that, again, are offensive. Martin said on Sunday about the Reddit posts, adding later, I've listened to Graham Plattner. I absolutely believe in his contrition here. I believe that he acknowledges that the words he used were harmful and offensive to so many people throughout this country. In Pod Save America episode earlier this week, Plattner blamed both controversies on his political opponents digging up opposition research and joked that the fact that I've managed to go from communist to Nazi in the space of 4 days, according to the people who are trying to do this to me, I find to be quite spectacular turn of events. Do you really think, once again, folks, do you really think there is that much daylight in between a Nazi and a communist? People are going to say, well, then didn't they fight against each other in World War II? Yes. They fought who was going to be the more dominant communist, as a matter of fact. Like, you think communist regimes just get along swimmingly? No, they don't, folks. Actually. It's insane. Plattner announced his candidacy for Senate in August, quickly gaining momentum and racking up notable endorsement from Senator Bernie Sanders. I'm going blah, 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 blah. Can't talk today for some reason. But it's fascinating, y'all. It's fascinating. You know, when Republicans do or say anything that's just slightly out of line, they make a joke about, hey, if you don't vote for this guy, we're going to send you guys to the gas chamber, right? When they were voting for who was going to be chairman of a committee for the Young Republicans Federation or whatever it was. It was clearly a joke. They get canceled for that. Absolutely. And I read a lot of those posts. Some of them, look, some of those jokes were kind of dirty jokes. And you can't say them. But they were all clearly in good humor, right? Some of them were kind of untoward. Some of them were slightly on the racist side. But like, once again, folks, who hasn't made a racist joke before? Like, the funniest one I've always thought was, hey, as a matter of fact, a black person told me this joke. He was like, you want to know how every black person joke starts? I thought it was hilarious myself, to be honest with you. But, you know, once again, they were clear jokes. They were untoward. They shouldn't have made those jokes, right? Where they could clearly be admonished for them. They could be exposed. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. But once again, it's locker room talk. It's not a Nazi tattoo. It's not claiming to be a communist. It's not claiming all of these things. It's not claiming that rural white Americans are racists and that cops are bastards, for goodness sakes. All right, once again, folks, this guy is trying to cover up. Like, think about it. If you got called out for having a Nazi tattoo and you were trying to run for the Senate, what would you say? That's all I'm saying. He's saying all the right things, right? I think it's fascinating, y'all, to watch the Democratic Party actually defend a Nazi. It is what it is, folks. You know, maybe the guy has changed, but it doesn't matter. Look, once again, like I was saying earlier, those people need to be the best of the best. Absolutely. If you're going to be at the top, you need to be the top person, right? So, you know, taking some oyster farmer, I don't care about that. Sure, it's a real person, but he's also a real crackpot as well. Some of his views are just absurd. Completely absurd. He's a far left socialist. Once again, like, he's got endorsed by Bernie Sanders. They claim to be socialists, and then he said he was a communist, and now he's walking it back? Oh, what is communism? A bridge too far for a socialist? I'm sorry, folks. It's all nonsense. It's all garbage. They're trying to fool everybody. They're just trying to cover up a scandal. That's all it is. It is what it is, folks. But I think I've rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Because I'm laughing my butt off over here at the corporate press trying to manipulate, say it resembles a Nazi tattoo. Like, are you kidding me about that? These people are insane, y'all. They really are. But, you know, I'm going to expose them every time. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Click that join button. Sign up and become a member. And maybe, just maybe, I could deliver more news to you guys. But y'all remember that God has a plan for everybody. And he loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.